Okay, good afternoon, wherever you are. I'm Musa Olatunji, and I'm the founder of More Global Network Facebook group, where we have change makers around the world connecting and making impact through collaboration. So today, this is the second live webinar we'll be having this month. Today, we'll be talking about making impact through community engagement with Ambassador Abayomi Abdulrahman. He's a well-versed personality. So today I'll be using this opportunity to read a brief on his profile. So Mr. Abayomi is the Chief Servant Executive Director of Initiative for Sound Education, Relationship and Health, ISEC. He was on the ballot as 2019-2021 African Representative Candidate for the World Bank / IMF, that's the International Monetary Fund, Civil Society Policy Forum Working Group, a position he lost to another senior African colleagues. He's a trained leadership coach by American Express Leadership Academy in US and got certified on 21st Century Leadership Academy by McCourt School of Public Policy in US as well. He is an alumnus of African American Institute, where he got trained on social sector management by the Enterprise Development Center, that's the Pan-Atlantic University in Lagos. His profile is just too much. I know a lot of people are trying to join. If you're going to join and you want to make sure your comment display, there is a connection you need to do. You need to approve Stream Live so that your face will display once you are putting up your comments. So thank you for joining us wherever you are. Without wasting much time, I had to short the profile because if I start reading it, we might not leave. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay, so over to you, sir.
Good afternoon or good evening, wherever we are. Let me first seek for your forgiveness for coming on late. I was the one that delayed this program. I'm so sorry. I had some other unforeseen to speak with you wherever you may be. And let me specifically appreciate my brother, my mentor, my leader, Brother Olatunji Ahmed, ambassador. Sorry that I missed that. So he is the one that gave me that name, ambassador. I'm simply Abayomi Abdulraheem. I'm not chief executive. I'm chief servant of Initiative for Sound Education. I'm just somebody they send around, go and do this, go and do that. So that's who I am. Today's topic is making impact through community engagement. And the first thing one will ask is, what is community engagement? When we're talking of community engagement, there's no universal definition for it or acceptable definition for it other than the fact that, just like it sounds, engagement, engaging a particular community or bringing on board people of a particular community that you want to solve one or two problems or challenges they are facing. In other words, we can call it bringing on board stakeholders, people who have a stake in an issue, bringing them together, rubbing minds together before designing a program that will address your perceived challenges. What do I mean by that is that sometimes we see some issues as being challenges to a community, but until we engage those community, people of those community, we may not know that what we call challenge or problem may not be a challenge or problem to them. I'll give you a very good example. One of my bosses told me of one project they executed in the northern part of Nigeria. To them, somebody just went to the community and observed that for the women in the community, for everyone in that community to have access to water, they have to go on, they have to walk certain kilometers to get water. That situation saddened the person, and he thought, what does it take to sink a borehole for this community? He engaged his colleagues, friends, and they came up with an idea of sinking a borehole. They sunk a borehole in the community, and water started running. But they went after to do what is called impact assessments. How has that borehole that we sunk in that community has impacted their lives, has changed a lot of things in their life? They got there and they discovered that since the first day the borehole was commissioned, nobody went back there to fetch water. And that gave them challenges. That what could be the problem? Does that mean this thing is not working again? They checked and they discovered that the water is fine, is running. But the women of the community who used to be the source of getting water in the community refused to make use of that water, of that borehole. And as a result of that, every effort they made in sinking that borehole got lost because it's of no use. So let me go ahead and don't let me go further on that case. There were some things they did afterwards, and to find out that what they did was not what actually the community needs. What am I trying to say is that what is called a challenge to you, what you see as a challenge could not be a challenge. Let me give another very good example. There are some community that it has become their tradition that whenever their girl child clocks 10 or 11, they give such child out in marriage. Now, being an educated person or being somebody coming from a civilized society, you'll be wondering what's wrong, what's going on here. And before you know it, you were like, oh no, I have passion, I have to drive a change, something has to change, this is not the right thing. Then you went back to, let's assume you went back to this city, you brought your friends, colleagues, let's make an advocate, let's advocate for change in these barbaric styles. And you started going around preaching. If you are lucky, let me sound it again, if you are lucky, you will leave that community alive. If you are unlucky, you might be killed before leaving that community, because you will be seen as just like somebody will be seen as antichrist for doing certain things. The community will see you as somebody who wants to demolish their culture. So if you don't engage the community, which is community engagement, you will not likely understand what their problem is. And failure to understand what their problem is, what you think are their problems, might not be their problems. They might have other issues. They might be comfortable with what they're doing. Now, having said that, I believe we would have understood what I mean by community engagement. Bringing stakeholders together on a roundtable discussion on certain perceived issues that you think are cogent that needs to be changed. Then listening to them without you forcing your own solution on them. Listening to them, allowing them to express themselves and how they think what could be done to change the perceived challenge or problem. Having said that, let us look at how do you engage the community? You are so passionate, good. You don't like how things are going in your community, fine. You want to drive a change. I want to do something that could change what I've observed that is wrong with my community. How do you start? How do you start? The first way to start is to start with yourself. What do I mean by yourself is you have to ask yourself, what is my motive What is my motive of doing what I want to do? Do I want to do this thing because I want people in this community to know that I exist? Or I want to do it because if I start doing it now, some people may like it and money will start coming in and I will become big person, I will be rich. Or, oh, no. I want to engage in community, in making a change because I heard there's a program called YALI, Young African Leaders Initiative. I heard of a fellowship, Water Carrington Fellowship. I heard of Atlas Cup Fellowship, whereby if I have a story to tell about the impact I've made in my community, this fellowship or these fellowships or scholarships or programs, I will have access. Is that why? You have to check your motive. Your motive is the first thing that you have to do if you see a problem in your community and you want to address such a problem. The first thing is your motive. Why do I want to do it? Some people are doing it for different reasons, but you must understand your own reason. Why? To make a change is not that easy. It's not a free ride. It's not something that you think, I'll just talk to them. When I talk to them, they will accept me. No. There are sometimes those you want to change, those you want to effect a change in their life, might not see, if they don't see what you see as a problem, if they don't see it as a problem, they will see you as being abnormal. And that might affect your personal self and your self-esteem. A lot of people don't know that there is a presence of low self-esteem in one's failure to achieve what one has set to achieve, especially in a situation whereby those you think of helping are actually the one turning against you, seeing you as somebody who wants to hurt them. You feel bad, you feel depressed. A lot of people may not go outside that depression for life. So that's why you need to understand your motive. That's number one. Number two, you need to identify what are going to be your likely threats, your likely challenges, so that when they come, they won't meet you unprepared. They won't meet you unprepared. You'll be fully prepared to know that, oh, I heard that there's one man in that community that anytime a change is to take place in that community, the man is always on top of the game to fight whoever brings the change. The moment you've identified such a person, you know that person is a threat to what you want to do. So you need to identify your threat. Is it financial? Is it human? Is it material? So when you identify that, it makes it easy for you to kickstart your engaging the community. After you've done that, then there's one thing we called needs assessment. You cannot get the needs assessment of a community except you engage such community, people living in that community. And let me say this, I'm mentioning community. Community doesn't necessarily mean a geographical location. It may be a group of people. Like, for example, we have what is called gay community. It doesn't mean the entire people who make up gays are living in a particular geographical location. But the moment they have come together as an association, as a group of people, we refer to them as a community. I think we're clear about that, sir. Now, having said that, you identify the community, then you identify, you've known your threats, those whether human resources or monetary money. After you've identified such, in engaging the community, there are some underground works you first have to do. If part of your threats happens to be someone who lives in that community or who is a part of that community, he is going to be your first contact person. We call them focal person. In such client, such a person, if he says yes, the entire community might say yes. If the person says no, the entire community might say no. In most cases, we make a lot of mistakes. Some of us do think that the ruler, the leader of such a community is going to be the focal person. No. In some cases, somebody who happens to be the focal person of the community might be somebody who has nothing, is not rich, is not even a chief, but he has that charisma that carries him to be on top of decision. It might be intelligence, that it might be level of education, that the community will say, no, before we do anything, we have to call this man. He has to give us his idea, what he thinks we could do. It's when we do that we can allow anyone. So such a person, you engage the person. You first go to that person. How do you engage that person? That's another one. In some cases, it could be easy for you to walk into that person, grade the person, and present yourself. In some cases, it might not be. There was a community I worked with, and the person who happens to be the focal person for that community drinks a lot, is always in a bar. And as a Muslim, it's difficult for me to go to a bar to engage him. But that's the only place I could get him. So, excuse me, you have to map out where you could get that person. Engage that person. Let's assume you've met the person. Engage that person. Engage that person. When you are engaging the person, don't attack. I want us to underline that. Don't attack. Because most of us will engage them, will be like, sir, my name is Abdullah. I'm the chief servant of Initiative for Sound Education, Relationship and Health. Oh, carry your mommy. Fine, sir. Don't try to blow grammar when you know the man doesn't understand English. Don't go. And at the same time, there are some places you will go. Kindly let me digress a bit. That when you are engaging such a person, you don't suit up. You know, this person doesn't like people in corporate ways. If you go suiting up, he might not listen to you. He will say, oh, sir, he hasn't listened to you. He's already saying some people have come to the community to dupe them. So I'm not from a bank. They said they are not from banks, but later. So understand that person, understand that community. If what they like is wearing cap, bringing it to the right side or left side, do that. Do what the community will accept, what that focal person will also accept. So that, hey, what will make him feel at home with you? Now engaging that person, don't say, sir, in this community, I've been observing for the past 3 days, I discovered that a lot of people are marrying young girls. For example, Chief Boba Jiroro, for example, Chief Boba Jiroro married someone, a very little girl 3 days ago. The man will just be looking at you, okay. So after you presented your case, you didn't know you shot yourself. The man will just say, okay, what do you want us to do? So I'm thinking how we can advocate, how we can, oh no, my brother, you lost it. The best way for you to start is to ask that man, daddy, greet him, give him all the encomium, call him professor, if you know that's what will make him happy. Then tell him that, daddy, I'm a new person in this community and I've observed something. What's that? I observed that ladies in this community, they don't go beyond primary school before they get married. Daddy, please, sir, I want to know, is there any reason for that? Such a person might be so happy to tell you, oh, what you never knew, the person might tell you, it's not like that. We used to have a teacher in that primary school that you see. We used to have a teacher that used to take them in secondary school courses, kinika. But the teacher didn't come again. He will explain the reason, the genesis of that issue. And if a child is not going to school again, the next thing is for the child to get married. So you understand the reason. Then you can start driving your ways. Daddy, what do you think we can do to address that? What you perceive to be early child marriage or child marriage might not be child marriage. I mean, they might not be happy with that issue, but they don't have any option. It might be you're bringing secondary school to that community will solve that problem. but you don't know. You've assumed, Agbaya ni won, they are bad people, they are married. No, it doesn't work that way. That's how you will understand. That's where community assessment starts. So after you've had a good talk with that person, then you can now ask him, sir, and I would like to meet KBAC, or I would like to meet the community leader, and I would like to meet this association's leader. He will take you to the association leader, you meet the association leader. He will even be the one that will start talking before you talk. And you might even say, that didn't get so. Even if he will say some wrong things, but you won't stop him. You say, Asoju Ìjọba ni wọ́n. He's here to represent the governor. When you are not even from the governor, but you keep calm. Let him do all the necessary appreciation and talk. The KBAC or the leader will come back to you and say, Oga, thank you. We've been looking for people like you. Please, from there you will set the record straight and you will engage. Then from there you will ask, sir, please, when can I be able to speak to the each compound's head? Can you see how we are arranging it from focal person to community leaders? It might be KBAC and his people. Then from there you ask them how you could be able to speak to the generality of the heads of each compound of that community. So it was Akole. When do you have time? They might even push it to you. When do you have time? The best thing is to push it back to them. Kabisi, whenever you give me, I will come. Let me give you a very good example. There's a community I worked with in Osun State, and then we had a program to implement in that community, and we fixed a date ourselves. That so date we will be going to that community, unknown to us that that date happened to be their market day. So we got there, nobody was ready to listen, they were in the market. So in our own intuition, we felt like, okay, we'll come on Friday. It was Wednesday, then we said we'll go on Friday. Unknown that there's another market taking place in a neighboring community, that the people will even go there to sell. So until you get those things right, you will just be spending. Don't forget, we had to spend to get to that community. We had to engage a lot of resources. Then we got to the community, we couldn't implement our program. Now, are you going to tell, let's assume you are working under a funded project. Are you going to tell your donor that you wasted his money to go to a community without carrying out that activity? It doesn't make sense. That's why when you engage all these people, they will give you the time you can meet. You know, we are talking on community engagement now. So you've started engaging. So what you and that focal person has done by visiting the community leaders is what is known as advocacy visits. You went on advocacy. Sorry, that's what they call advocacy visits. You went on meeting them. It's now when the generality now come together that you can now start discussing issues. That's when you can now start discussing issues of, okay, what do you think we can do? How do you think we can navigate? Kabezi, what do you think we can do on these issues? And don't forget, in a community comes together because they have common traits. It doesn't mean all of them are the same. In a community, you might find different tribes there. You might find, like in Nigeria, you may find Hausa in a community. You may find Yoruba. You may find Igbo. You may find different people of different tribes. But bringing them together on a particular problem will give you the opportunity of discussing. They will give their own perspective based on their tribes. Other tribes will give their own perspective. If Yoruba says this is the solution that could work, the Hausa may say, the Hausas in that community, representative of Hausa of that community might say, no, that thing will not work. In our community, in my tribe, we don't accept somebody doing this in our tribe. So you, at the end of the day, you come into consensus on what could be done. Let me quickly, because of our time, so that I won't take longer than expected. Let me talk about, after you've engaged the community, then the solution will come. What you have personally thought to be the solution might not be the solution at the end of the day. and they might come up with ideas. And from there, oh my God, you can have several options. If you happen to be somebody who writes on who writes proposals, you might have an opportunity of, even from that engagement, you might have opportunity of writing 3-4 proposals for different funding opportunities, because you identify that, oh, this problem, this solution, we have this solution for this solution. For example, let me take that of a girl child. You might discover that they need secondary school. That's a project on its own. You have identified a project, you put it aside. Then the man might say, oh, we might also need adult education. That's another project. You put it aside. You wanted to drive a change, but through community engagement, you've been identified different projects that you could execute in that community. Then adult education, you put it aside. Then you have what is called community beliefs reorientation, like community awareness. That's another project. Then you can now add it up with early child marriage, solution to early child marriage, or a project on early child marriage. Just for you to solve a problem, you've had 4 different projects identified. And these 4 different projects could also go to 4 different funders, 4 different stakeholders that will address them. For like that secondary school, you may come up with a proposal, go to Ministry of Education, and try to start pushing for Ministry of Education to establish a secondary school in that community. That's one project on its own. You are liaising with government. On adult education, you can look for another non-profit organization that does work in that area, push it to them, and you can work on collaborative aspect in achieving that. On the early child marriage, you can also come up with a project, even bring on board the people in the community. There will be some influential people who are rich in that community. Getting in touch with them, they can fund such a project as well. I hope we are getting that. So let us quickly go to, because I don't know, maybe I don't know whether I'm using 40 minutes, but I've discovered I've used 27 minutes. But I would like to end my discussion when it's 4
sir,
minutes.
You have enough time. You have enough time, sir.
Oh my God. All right, sir. All right, sir. Okay, sir. Let us now look at the benefits of community engagement. What do we benefit in engaging community? Or not only we, even the community itself. Number one, when you take issues to the community and you bring the community together, don't forget I mentioned there might be minority people in that community who don't necessarily of the same tribes in that community. You can have Hausa, you can have Fulani, you can have Igbos in that community. I want to take a street, for example. I want to use it hypothetically. Let's say a community, I'm talking of physical community now, not a group or association. Let's call that community Abayomi Street. Let me use my name so that somebody will not say you are using my name. My name is Abayomi, right? Let's call that community Abayomi community. In that community, people are just living there. They do what they want. They go out. They don't even know one another. But your project may bring them together. When they say this compound A, you have to bring a representative to a community head place. They have a meeting. And this compound A is a house built by an Igbo man. And the man joins that meeting. An Hausa man joins the meeting. TV man joins the meeting. Then you have representation of the entire community in that meeting. Having had that, the KBC called you, all of you together, all of them are there. The first thing that will come to each of them's mind is that they will be glad. They will that gladness will be there. That, oh, so I am not just a nobody in this community. Do you mean I could be recognized in this community? They will be so happy that despite the fact that they don't, on the basis of ethnicity or tribe, they don't belong to this community. So the KBAC or the leader of this community could even call them to a meeting. They will be happy. That's the first thing that community engagement does. It gives a sense of belonging to the people of that community. It gives them a sense of belonging. Oh my God. Thank God. The pride will be there. They'll be happy. That's number one. Number two, it fosters unity. You might be living in a community for the past 3 years. You might not know the man who owns the next building by your building. You just know, you come out, you see a woman. It's very common especially in Africa, especially in some tribes where men always go to work, where women decide what to do, they trade or something like that. You might be seeing a woman every time without knowing her husband. But because of that community engagement, you'll be able to say, oh, hello, sir, are you Daddy Chibusho? Say, I'm Daddy Chibuzo. I know your daughter. I know your wife, but I've never met you before. You exchange greetings. Alas, such a person might also be engaging in something that your company even needs. And that unity comes from that level. Yo, what do you do, sir? Oh, I'm a contractor. I'm a this. Oh, I sell corrugated irons. I sell this. Oh, I don't know. We need so projects. And that community, that unity will foster prosperity of individuals and that community. That's number three. It fosters prosperity in that community. You see people start trading amongst themselves, start engaging among themselves, giving themselves opportunity for contracts. I don't know, you work with Nimasa. I work with Nimasa. Oh, that is, you mean you work in ports? Yes. Oh my God. I'm a dealer. I sell cars. Oh, Daddy, we used to have problems. So you start conversing. Then you start knowing yourselves. That's you came with a project, but you're coming you're coming to addressing a particular problem. Is bringing that community together. Is uniting the community. Is giving them the opportunity for prosperity. Imagine that. Imagine that. And all these things I've been talking about, I've not mentioned money. In most cases, you won't even spend up to this level. You won't spend other than your personal, what they call it, transportation fare if you're not living in that community. Means of transporting yourself to that community might be the only thing. Even some communities will even give you some things when you are going. I went to a community, I think Iwo, I think that was Iwo in 2014. I went for a program. And at the end of the program, I went on bike. I rode on a bike. So from Ilesha to Iwo. So at the end of the program, they gave me cash, and the woman gave me plantain. And on my way home, it looked as if I was coming from farm. So I had plantain tied to the back of my bike while I was going. They appreciated the fact that I came. They appreciated that. And they gave me money for my transportation. That's why the fact that I was actually going there to implement a project. A funded project too. And the project that I already started getting salary for. But they gave me money. Thank you for coming. Because they didn't see people coming with such ideas. They didn't see people coming to come and address their challenges. So they were so happy. So all these steps I've read out, you might not actually need money. You might actually be receiving, depending on how you are able to engage your people. You know, Yoruba used to say, good words brings kola nuts from someone's pocket. And at times, bad words could let that receiver bring out a sword and kill the person bringing such words out of his mouth. Let me go to number 4. You're bringing them together will create what is known as an effective solution. just like I said, you wanted to address early child marriage, but because you engage the community, you have different projects you have to work on. So that's an opportunity for you to be able to do what? To be able to engage your community, the people of your community. I hope we are following me, and I hope I'm not taking much of your time on this issue that I'm discussing.
We are following,
So,
sir.
okay, thank you, sir. So, as I was saying, oh, it seems I'm not showing again.
Your camera is off.
Oh, sorry. Let me quickly. My hand touched it. I'm so sorry, everyone. Sorry. Yeah, I'm back. So that's another thing that would do for you. It will give you an opportunity of having various different projects or solutions to just a single identified problem. That's number 5 now. Number 5 now. You're holding that community engagement. We also improve the knowledge and skills of the people of that community. You don't know? I will tell you. Some people are living in a community, but they don't know their community even has a challenge because they don't stay. Let me take myself as an example. It's been over 2 years now that I've left Nigeria for the United States for a program. So whatever happening in my community, I may not know. But if my wife fails to report to me that this thing is happening, I might not know. But let's not assume that the community wants to hold a program, a meeting, and they now say, Abayomi must be there. And they put me on a live program like this. I was part of them virtually. When they are saying some things, I will be like, oh, just within 2 years that I left home, you mean this thing is happening in my community? My wife never told me. It has increased my knowledge. Then it will challenge me to say, oh, what can we do, sir? What can we do? So bringing these people together might let them know. There are some people in a community that they don't even know their children don't attend schools because they leave home early. And the school is just a stone thrown from their house. So they believe, oh, Wale, go to your school. I'm going now. This is your food. This is your money for your food. And they left. It is when you now bring such an issue to the entire community that do you know that in this community, out of 100 students that enroll in our school, only 20 is actually coming. Are you serious? Emma Gbawake. No, our children are going to school. Daddy, even your own child, sir. It's been like 3 weeks now. Your child has come to school last. Mudari. You see, they will know. So this thing is going on. So that will let them know. And that will give them the opportunity of actually wanting to know more. I need to know what's going on in my community. Just like, let me give you an example. When people look at this program that they do in Ogun State. Iwude, I think Iwude Day or something like that in Ogun State, like a carnival, Ojudioba carnival. There are a lot of rich people from that community that might not know their community is suffering from one thing or the other. But they are coming home for Ojudioba. It's like Ojudioba, that program is just like a community engagement on its own. Kabiyesi will be able to talk. They will know the challenges of their community. Oh, I don't know. Let me give you a very good example here. In 2016, was it 16 or 15? I was invited to a community in Osun State by a very good friend who happened to be former SUG president of Federal Polytechnic, Olatunji Awoko, they call him Awoko. So he invited me to a community and to come and speak in that community, to the young people of that community. So I got there, I spoke to the people of the community. Kabiyesi was not there. The Kabiyesi, is not actually the Kabiyesi, but the prospective Kabiyesi is been identified to be the next Kabiyesi. So he was invited, but he didn't come on time. So I was already rounding up the program when Kabiyesi came. And the Kabiyesi was like, Abayomi, you won't go until you start again. I actually came because of you. So I had to start the program again. So along the line, because the Kabiyesi happened to be a very rich person, I made use of that opportunity and I asked young people in that all that, what do you think is your challenge? What are your challenges as young people in this community? All of them, those who are graduates, there's no job, there's no this, there's no that. So Kabezi was listening. Then I now asked them, I said, is there anything in this community that if you want to get in this community, you have to go to another community to get it? They say, yes. What are they? Kabezi was the man that the prospective Kabezi was looking at. Okay, what's that? They said, if you want to buy fish, we have to go to either Ilesha or Ijebu-Jesha. The Kabezi was like, fish? The Kabezi never knew that nobody was selling fish in that community. If they wanted to buy meat, they had to go to another community. If they wanted to buy slippers, then I now challenge the young people that, and you said there's no job, but you have identified the area of needs in your community, that people of this community, they eat fish, they eat meat. Why can't one of you start selling fish? Must you go to Lagos to look for job? Why can't one of you start selling meat? Then Kabezi was like very astonished. He was like, wow. Because Kabezi had no business going to the market to buy fish. He never knew. So it lets the people of the community knowing. It keeps them. It gives them knowledge. Then from community engagement, there are some people in that community that can actually solve the problem of that community single-handedly. But they are afraid. They are afraid of the community. Let me give you an example. A rich man in a particular community that I know has the ability to tie the road that leads to that community. But the first person he discussed with happened to be his mom. Mommy, this community road, I don't like it. I want to tie it. I was like, hey, please, don't kill me. They will say you are flaunting your money, Abi. Don't let anybody kill you for me. So the man was scared. The man wanted to do something, but he's afraid. His mom has put that fear in him. But you come into that community, bringing the entire community together, and the man happens to be there, listening to your conversation about the road of the plight of the road. And the Kabiyesi and other people say, in fact, that thing is affecting us. So last time there was a time Mama Chibuzo wanted to give birth. In fact, we couldn't pass through that road. She gave birth on our way to the hospital on that road. The man can say, Kabiyesi, please, how will you feel if you see someone wants to fix the road? They must say, we will be happy. So the fear created in such a man that he might be killed has already been erased by just community engagement. He will be so happy. He might even not talk in that group. He might even call Kabiyesi at the end of the meeting and say, Kabiyesi, I have interest in fixing this road, but I'm afraid what the community will say. You know, when you are fixing road, let me quickly bring this in. You know, when you are fixing road, you have to dig gutters. And because you don't carry the community along, some people might be hungry. You've already dug the gutter, but before you start doing anything, the rain starts. And people of the community, they couldn't enjoy very well how they used to even enjoy their bad road. The enjoyment has come to something. The road starts being slippery because you put mud on the road or something like that. They might start cursing you. And that's why some of our governments in Africa, they're having problems. Before you construct anything, engage the community. And that's why you see a community will be on TV, they will be cursing their governor. Our road was not as bad as this, so they just came one day, they started bulldozing our road. See, they've abandoned it. But if such government engage the community aforehand, they will know there will be communications as they are making progress. That we can't continue this road because there is rain. So please, people of the community, help us bear it. In that discussion, the people of the community might say, can you also do this? If you do this, then it will ameliorate the problems we are going to face plying that road. Let me quickly round up because sincerely speaking, if they don't tell you that it's up, you must know it's up. So let me round up by saying this. that a well-engaged, a well-designed community engagement allows you these 5 things that I will say, and I'll mention to you. If you properly design your community engagement, number 1, it will let you identify the differing values and priorities of that community or in that community. It will let you identify the differing values and priorities of that community. What do I mean by that? There are some things some people do in our community that we feel is bad, but alas, is not to them. But community engagement will let you see that is not. I don't want to give an example because of time. Number 2, differing frames, differing frames or ways citizens view their community and a particular project. You're bringing them together will let you know how they feel, how they view their communities. Hello, sir. Sorry for the break in sorry for the break in transmission. As I was saying, you're engaging them will let you have different frames or ways people view their communities. For example, let me use Nigeria as a typical example. If you bring different tribes in Nigeria together to discuss Nigerian issues, from that discussion, you will see how people will have differing views about Nigeria. Some will say, no, like we used to read on Facebook and social media, this country is already a zoo. That person has given you his own view about Nigeria. So, if such a person has identified Nigeria to be a zoo, don't expect that person to behave as human. Because he is living in a zoo, and as person living in a zoo is an animal already. So he behaves as an animal, not as a human. But when another person says, oh, it's our collective responsibility, Nigeria must be great, the person will likely behave as human, not as an animal. So you will hear their different views, and you will have the opportunity of asking why the person who calls that country a zoo calls it a zoo, and how you could address it for such a person to become human rather than animal, and for that person to see what he calls a zoo as a home or as a country. Number 3. Oh, before I go to number 3, I mentioned also their view about a particular project. I watched a clip where an African woman who did postgraduate studies with World Bank, where she was talking about a particular community in Africa where they worked. And in that community where they worked, where World Bank worked, they were planning irrigation program for that community. And World Bank in US designed that program themselves. They came down to Africa, in that country in Africa, and they implemented that program without engaging the people of the community. But the people of the community just let them engaged. That's their problem. And the people went back to their own local remedy of farm irrigation. And later they discovered that what the harvest of the local initiative content and that of the World Bank are not this, they were not the same. That of the local initiative yielded more results than that of the World Bank. So as a result of that, they engaged the community, and the community was like, you want to spend money. It's because you guys want to spend money now. You didn't engage us. the money you spent on doing that type of irrigation, if you involved us, oh my God, this our community will be a nation, a community of food, because we will yield a lot of results. So they had to reverse that. Another one, in 2014, I was working on a World Bank project, and our design was to, the design on our paper was to sink a borehole for a community in 2014. So we engaged the community in Osun State. Engaging the community said a borehole will not serve them. So they needed like 3 boreholes. What are we going to do? The budget we have is this. So we were able to know the needs. We were able to know the need of that community, and to God be the glory, we provided them 3 boreholes. And the funded projects only gave us opportunity to implement one borehole project. Number 3, it will give you various alternatives to solving a particular problem and the consequences of each of these alternatives. Engaging the community will let you know, this is the challenge, this is this. Imagine if somebody just comes up in Ile-Ife. I want to use this as an example, the cradle of Yorubas of Nigeria. Somebody, or let me use as an Ashanti in Ghana. Somebody comes up with an idea in Ashanti and says, why would their own king be tying wrapper? Why would their own king be tying wrapper to United Nations to make a presentation? Where his chest is barely seen? No, it's barbaric. The person starts using grammar, and the person starts advocating for their own Oba, their own Kabiyesi in Ashanti tribes to be wearing agbada ropes or to be wearing ties whenever he's going to international trip. What do you think the community will? How do you think the community will view such a person? If they don't kill the person, they might banish that person from that community. They might banish him. Don't come down to this community again with your evil thoughts. So it lets you have alternatives. It lets you see the consequences of what you think to be the solutions. Imagine somebody says, because there's a prevalence of rapes in a community. Therefore, what I think that we are going to be doing is this. So the person comes up with a metallic pants, metallic underwear with lock. And the person says, for every woman, they will be wearing this metallic pants. The moment they wear it, there's a lock, they will lock it. So if a man even wants to rape you, the man will not have access. I'm sorry, I want to use a word. The person will not have access to your vagina because you've put on iron pants. That is the person's design. And the person is coming down to sell such pants in the northern part of Nigeria. The northern part of Nigeria, the person is coming there to sell iron pants. If he leaves that community alive, thank God, though. Because the men who engage in rapes and those who even don't engage in rapes will see him as evil. Even those who don't engage in rape, those who used to persuade their wife before they could even have intimacy with their wives, will be like, hey, so if you said this thing to Mama Fatima, she will be wearing it every night and she won't let me have access to her. No, this man, Shege, Bambromba. Even Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo, anywhere you take such things to, there will be a lot of people that will say no. But if you engage them prior to that design, you will be able to understand better, and you'll be able to carry them along, change their orientation. Number 4, and that leads me to number 4, perceptions. Because the person designed the metallic pants without engaging people, the perceptions will be different. Because the women that wants to wear it, even without touching the pants, the metallic pants, they will be like, hey, another load. You want to add load to my body. If I wear and now make I not be able to walk. No, you know, they wear nonsense. So, so it will let you know their perceptions about what you are designed and the risk. Number 5. Is it number 5 or number yeah, number 5? You have different ideas. You have different ideas. I mentioned that already. Different ideas that may lead to a new project or may not. Number 6, we have what is called, you will be able to have the characteristics and challenges of your wickedness, of your own wickedness. You don't know that there are some projects you design that people you are taking the project to will see you as being wicked. You want to change their life, but they will see you as being wicked. Let me give you a very good example, a very, very good example. In 2014, there's a project called HPDP2 World Bank funded project. I worked on that project. And for the organization that I worked for, we were to engage 403 female sex workers. Female sex workers, 403 in 3 local governments in Osun State. I wanted the people you call prostitutes. Ashewo, Bele Pawo. Aha. That project was to engage 3 of them. 403 of them. 403 of them. And what was the design? We were just to engage them to change their orientation, their perspectives, their thinking. We want to increase their use of condom because findings show that majority of them go for what they call it, flesh to flesh contract with their work with their potential clients. So we wanted to promote frequent use of female condoms among them, is as a female or for their clients. So that was our design. But we had an opportunity of having someone who is so religious. I was also very conscious of my religion as well, and I am still conscious of my religion. But I was the team lead for that project, and you know, a lot of people see me entering what they call it, motel, brotels. They will feel like, hey, look at Afa Abdullahi. Hey, I want to say, look at Afa Abdullahi is entering brotels. Hey, something has happened though. So a lot of challenges came on board before we even started the program, the event. The owner of the organization happened to be a very good Christian, and he was like, so it became a problem for us even before we started. Now we never knew we would meet another problem on our way. So because we were engaging 3 different local governments, so we wanted to have a situation whereby they could work together as a group. I mean, those in local government A, local government B, and local government C. We want a situation where we can connect them together. So we now say, okay, let us pick a place, a central place where that program is going to hold. Under that project, we had 3 slots to hold that program. Initially, we would have just done it in each of the local governments, but we wanted to have a situation whereby they will come together, share idea, so that they will know what is happening in social local government and local government. So we started. We met the first local government area, the brothel manager. They call them madam. So we met the madam. We had a discussion with the madam. Let me quickly say this. On the day of meeting the madam was already in a room with a client, and she already gave us time. So we got there. They told us madam is attending to our client. You don't get angry, so we had to wait till madam finished with our client and attendance to us. So we spoke with the madam. So from engaging them, we discovered that there was rivalry amongst them in each of the local government. No, we can't go there. No, why will you do that? Yeah. So they started. So finally, we were able to engage them. But they gave us conditions. How many hours will it take? Those were taken from local government A and local government B. We were taking them to local government C. So they wanted to know how many hours it will take them for that program. We gave them hours, and each of them calculated the number of clients they might have missed for those number of hours. And they said, if you want them to, if you want them to participate, you must give them money. It might not be the actual amount they will make within those hours, but at least we must give them something that can commensurate with the number of hours they will miss their clients. Ha. This thing is not in the project. How are we going to get money to do this? But my brother, we had to do it. We had to do it. So that's one of the challenges those who implement funded project, that's one of the challenges they face. And that's why in my organization, ISA, I've said it right from the beginning, we're not taking funded projects. We are not. What do I mean by funded project? A project whereby they will advertise and say there's a funding, oh yeah, write proposal for this project. There's no how you know how to do projects. You have problems. But people have different ways they do things. Is that they don't implement at the right report of, but if you want to implement a project, you might not have money left too. And don't forget that at times when you write proposal for funded project, not what you write will be approved. They will scrutinize it. They will remove some things. What they remove might be the necessary parts. Imagine us writing in that project of World Bank that time that we're going to give them money for taking 2 hours of their time. We're going to give them money that commensurates with what they will make within that 2 hours. World Bank will remove it. They will remove that clause. That what do you mean? How will you pay them? You only pay them for coming, transportation, fine. But you want to pay them for the hours, the money they are going to lose for the hours you engage them. No, we are not paying. We are not giving you money for that. So that's why my organization, we don't do that. It is better you have a program running and somebody or a company or an organization comes on board, or government says, we like what you are doing, we want to partner with you. Can we fund it? At that time, you already know everything about that your program. It's different from what you just design and push it to them. And that's why a lot of World Bank projects are failing. They will keep failing. I said it in World Bank meeting that we had, maybe in 2019. I'm not sure whether 2019 or 2017 during or 2018 during World Bank Annual General Meeting. I said it to them that you cannot be sitting down in Washington, D.C. designing a program, a solution to a problem in Africa. It will not. Africans are the one that can solve their problems. They know what the problems are. And when they write a proposal about a particular problem, don't eschew, don't remove. Before you remove, invite them, ask them questions. If you don't ask them questions, you remove it. It might be the solution, the actual solution to that project that you're going to remove. But in Africa, everybody, we have what I call them new generation non-profit organization and old generation non-profit organization. New generation non-profit organizations are mostly solution driven. Old generation, most times, they are not solution driven. They are money pursuers. Wherever money goes, and that's why you see a non-profit that is established to address HIV problem, HIV challenge. The person will see Ebola, they will write proposal for Ebola. They will see another scholarship for secondary school students, they will write proposal that they could provide scholarship. Are you into education? So they jump because they are after money. They are after wherever money goes, they go. But if you are already implementing your project, like for ISA now, if anybody comes up and say, ISA, we like what you are doing on ISA undergraduate studies, can we partner? You will be glad because we know we already have our templates. And the person is not coming on board to say, oh, no, you cannot use that template. No, you can't tell us not to use that template. It's our project. You want to support us. But when you are the one asking for support, that's another problem. So with this, I've come to the end of my presentation. I'm so sorry I spent 1 hour, 3 minutes. I'm so sorry that I engaged you for that long. And let me seek for your permission or forgiving me for any error I might have made, whether grammatical. English is not my father's language. Whether grammatical or whether in terms of construction, whether in terms of giving out explanations. And let me also seek for the forgiveness and permission from those community I mentioned their names, and as well as the joint group of female sex workers, either in Nigeria or anywhere in the world. I said that because not to devalue what you're doing and not to cast aspersion on what you're doing. I worked with, despite my status, that's not my religion or whatever. I still work with community of gay. I work with community of female sex workers. I work with community, diverse group of community. I work with them. Because my faith is not the same with their faith. I have to respect them for their faith. And not every time you go, let me quickly say this, not every time you engage people that you want them to change. Hey, I want us to note that too. It happened during one of our projects that we implemented. A man that we brought to facilitate a project, one of that session for female sex workers, the man came, and alas, at a point, the man started quoting Bible. The man started telling them that prostitution is wrong. Daddy, you are not here to tell them prostitution is wrong. Our mandate is this, not, you might engage them one-on-one. There's a pregnant woman that I met during my program in 2015. Was it 15 or December 2014? She's part of the female sex workers. And after the program, I engaged her. She's pregnant, and we had conversations. From there, I discovered that she's living away from her husband. Her husband is living far away. She's living in that community, and she never started prostitution. She was only plaiting hairs. She's a hairdresser for them, and from there, now these are we are a fine girl. Share Jare now. Do this thing. That's how she started doing it, because her husband is not around. Let me be doing it at one side. She will plait their hairs. She will do the hair for them, and after that, if there's a potential client who has interest in her, she gave herself up, and from there she got pregnant, and we had a discussion, and we were able to take her out of prostitution. We also had some people that out of their own will, they stopped prostituting through that project. And when they stopped, they asked us what would they be doing, because they wanted to know, and the project didn't give us the opportunity to know what they would be doing. They didn't ask us to take them out. So we had to search for fund again to establish some of these people. So in that case, I'm using this medium to appreciate every one of us that have been online for this opportunity. And I appreciate more global initiative for this opportunity for me to come online to rant rather than facilitate, because I know nothing, I don't know anything. So thank you for accepting me the way I am. Thank you so much. So I'm done, sir.
Okay. Wow. You can see one of the comments I'm just displaying now. Oh wow, don't let your personal conviction come into play with work. I start work or you engage with them.
Exactly.
I even personally, even me myself, I've been able to jot a whole lot down here. If you notice, I have been jotting down here a lot, because community engagement has been a major issue, major challenges that we've been facing, and you've just simplified the whole thing, which shows your vast experience in this field.
Thank you.
Kudos to you, sir. Thank you for your time. We are in a question and answers segment now. So people who are online will be dropping their questions. I will display it on the screen, then you see it and you answer.
All right.
So I believe this session you'll be able to stay with us maximum of 20 minutes. Sir. Will you? Maximum of 20 minutes.
There's no problem, sir. You have me. No problem, sir. You have me, sir. You have me for today.
Okay, people. You can drop your question now. You can drop your question, so I'll display it. You can see some of the comments and questions.
Yeah. Okay, I have a question. Says, how do we go about a focal person who never agrees with the change effect you want to create? Thank you. It happens. It happens. At times you from your question, you say with the change effect you want. I underline that word. You want. No, you can't impose. I've said it. You cannot impose your own solution on the community. The moment you have come with a solution, prepared solution, don't expect them to accept it. If they accept it, they won't make use of it. Let me give an insight to this. There's one word called community involvement and community ownership. Community involvement and community ownership. If you take a project to community involvement and community engagement are slightly the same, but not the same completely. And community taking ownership is also different. If you go to a community and the focal person, maybe because, like this question now, you've already designed your project, maybe because it's a funded project and that's what World Bank approved for you. And you kept meeting that person and the person say, no, our community we don't need this. And you say, daddy, a job. At times you might trick the person maybe by visiting his wife or husband and to ask them to convince them, please help me convince daddy to accept this, our solution. This is what the World Bank gave to us. In such a situation, you have not done community engagement, you have not done community involvement, let alone of talking of community ownership. What you have done is community enforcement. That's what most of Nigerian government, most of African government does. Most of African government, that's what they do. They enforce, they don't engage. And that's why you just wake up one day and you see that in your community, one honorable is building a library. Who needs it? A community where they need secondary school, you are building libraries. A community where their children are going to farms, you are building libraries. So that means there's another word called word called needs assessment. Needs assessment comes under community engagement, and from there to community assessment, involvement, from community involvement to community ownership of the project. So I don't know the name of this person, but I just want to say that you have not done anything. At the end of the day, if they accept you, maybe because before we don't want them to say YALI is too much, let him do it. That the Ejeko say they will let you do it, but go back after a month, you will find nothing. Let me give you a very good example of community ownership, community involvement. You want to sink a borehole in a street, and you just go there yourself, you start sinking it. Let me use Lagos as an example. The Omata of that street might be the first person that will bring wahala to you. Omo, you want to do waiting, you get to pay. But if you engage the Omata, you must know that the community, apart from you engaging the KBAC or the street people, are the community itself, you need to engage the threats of that community. Who are the threats? Omata, those bad guys, those area boys, you engage them. Even they might even give you 2, 3, 4 of their people to come and police you while you are doing what you are doing. It's because you engage them. So they have taken ownership by giving you 2, 3 of their boys to be with you. So if another community area boy is coming, it's like, I'm a one bell, they will be telling them that no, money, no, guys, sorry for speaking Yoruba. It's because I'm citing Lagos example. So they will protect you and they will see the project being to fruition. And the funniest thing, you involve them. That's the meaning of involvement. Engaging them is to tell them where you design the project. After engaging them, the project, you've come up with the solution. Then you now went, maybe we've told KBAC now, you now start doing the project without going back to the KBAC to show the KBAC that this is the solution we have all drawn and arrived at. And KBAC want to start in the implementation. How do we go about it? We want you to give us one chief. We want us to, KBAC is okay, Yalode, be with them. Just be talking with Yalode. So if anybody is about to give you problem, Yalode will be like, KBAC knows about that program. They say, sorry, we don't know. And that is what they call community involvement. You've involved them. Then what is next? Community ownership. Community ownership, there are some places you see something like river basin, borehole or tanks, and you discover that those things are not working again. Why are they not working? They might engage the community, but they didn't involve the community. And because they don't involve the community, they fail to let the community claim the ownership. In your design, you must design your program to the extent that if you leave that community today, there will be people in that community that will be making sure that thing works. That is community ownership. They take ownership of that thing. They take ownership of it. They won't be waiting for World Bank to come and change the pumping machine that has spoiled. Because they've taken the ownership of it, the moment anything happens to it, they will be the one that will call those who will repair it without calling your organization. That is what they call community ownership. I hope we get it now. That is what they call community ownership. There's a community where we sunk a borehole there. Before we sink the borehole, before we sunk the borehole, we called them together, we discussed with them. They accept it. They gave us the place where we will sink the borehole. They monitored it. Then we established a committee. They were the one that nominated the committee. They were the one that nominated the treasurer. And when we funded the committee, the committee was to oversee the maintenance of that borehole. I hope we are getting it now. The committee were to oversee the maintenance of that borehole. So the committee came together and they started, and they made someone a treasurer, the most trusted person in that community. They made the person a treasurer. And every month the community, each house contributes 10 naira. Each house contributes 10 naira every month, and they put it in their account. So anytime the borehole, whether the generator or whatever has problem, they will take from their money contributed to solve the problem. They will render the financial statement. We train them on how to also give financial reports. So at the side of that borehole, they will every month, anytime they add at the side of that borehole, they paste the financial standing of that community, of that committee. They paste it there. So when you go to fetch water, you can stay and quickly look at it. That, oh, okay, our bank account now has 2,000 naira. Okay, yeah, that pipe, they change it. Thank God, oh, 500 naira. Then there will be opportunity for the people of the community to even question them. Plumber in me now. How would they? I'm a plumber now. How would they change this pipe for 5,000? They will be able to engage that people and say, come, committee. Why? How will you spend 5,000 naira on? So you've given. That's I mentioned you will equip them with knowledge and skills. That's where it starts from, and that's how we can change anything in Africa. Anything we want to change in this continent of Africa. If we use this method of community engagement, Africa will change for better. That person who engages in criminal will stop. Thank you. I hope I've answered your question.
Oh, thank you very much for the massive response.
Thank
you
you,
even
sir.
took your time to explain in details. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we are still waiting for more questions. If there is none, by 1:20, if there is no any other question, we will have to leave. We'll have to end the section. So while we are waiting, let me use the opportunity to keep appreciating you, sir. Like someone said, this is another version of you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And it's been wonderful, very, very wonderful. It's practical, and I really love it.
Thank you so much, sir.
I really love it.
Thank you, sir.
So, guys, you are still waiting. You are still waiting for more questions. If there is none, once it's 1:20, 1 hour 20 minutes, I will have to leave, so that we'll release our guard to go and attend to other destiny over there.
Thank you, sir. And as we're waiting for questions, let me also say this. Africa is having a lot of non-profit coming on board. A lot of people, young people, are coming on board with different ideas. And I would like to say, please, it is not necessary that your idea metamorphose into a non-profit organization. You don't have to establish non-profit organization. There are a lot of things you could do without having an organization. There are a lot that you could do without having an organization. So if you can do it, let me give you very simple. A lot of people, when we're talking of community engagement, or when we're talking about bringing people together, when we're talking about driving change, they think of having a non-profit organization. No, you don't have to have non-profit organization. In every community, they used to have a football pitch where young people play balls. You can engage these people as a person. You can mend the pothole in your community as without having a non-profit organization. You can, after playing balls, you can engage people and say, do you know we can do this? Flood is affecting you. Do you know we can do this in our community? You can drive a change through that. So that's all I would like to add. Oh, thank you so much, Binle. I'm ISA Associate Ambassador Binle Mubarak. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Most of their name did not display because they didn't follow the instruction. The
All
instruction
right.
was under the comments. Once you accept StreamYard, your comments and your face will be able to display this way, just like
Wow.
Iswa Taiwo Badmus.
All right. Oh, I
So
see.
I hope the next session will be having people will be able to accept StreamYard so that it will be able to display their name and pictures.
I wish as well.
So thank you for the
Let me appreciate Miss Iswat as well. Miss Iswat Badmos, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And everyone who joined us for the session, I so much appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for this wonderful section. I've really learned a lot, and I believe those who are online with us has also learned a lot.
I
So on
also
this
learned a lot.
note, okay, sir. On this note, we would like to say Jazakum. May Allah keep blessing you. May God keep blessing you. Thank you very much.
Amin. Wa antum fasajazakumullahu khaira.
You're welcome. So on this note, let's say goodbye, sir. Thank
All
you,
right,
sir.
sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Bye. Thank you all for joining. It's been a wonderful ride, very insightful session with Mr. Abayomi Abdulraheem all the way from US. So thank you all for joining. I believe you've learned one or two things you definitely go and work with. So we see you next. We have a lot of other speakers, guests coming up for August. So watch out. We'll be coming up with the flyers and a lot of information about it. So goodbye and do take good care of yourself.